The first thing you do before you start investing your money, before you start asking where to trade, what to trade, invest in yourself. This is the best investment of your lifetime. Hey there, Tommy from Fibonacci-Traders.com here with the daily market recap. Please hit the like, subscribe, share with friends. Let's see the charts. Today's price action is not surprising. Market is on hold, waiting for CPI numbers. Bad reaction, and this gap will get filled, and we might go retesting this yellow trend line to the downside. Good reaction from the market to these numbers. 414 to the upside will break, and we are going to retest this red trend line. All we have to do is sit, wait, and see how market will react to these numbers. This is all it matters, the reaction of the market. All the rest is just noise. It doesn't matter what we think or what others think about the numbers. All it matters is how market is reacting. QQQ 323, still a very tough resistance for price. Now all we have to do, you guessed it, sit and wait where price of the Qs will take us. Back to the 315 and maybe closing this gap at the 308, or finally breaking up and above the 323 together with this yellow trend line all the way towards 335. Follow price, use levels and trend lines to manage risk and future positions, because trend lines are the true support resistance for price action, and they are also the roadmap for future price action. IWM, another day, another doji, nothing much. 173 now is holding, breaking below it. We are going to 170, breaking below the 170. We're going towards 162. Good reaction, good CPI numbers. This red trend line will break to the upside with 180. Next major resistance. Dow Jones, same thing. Basically dojis almost all across the board. Another day, another doji on the Dow. 335, we can see bulls are hanging on this 335. Breaking down and under, we are going to fill this gap at the 333. If the 331 will fail to hold, we are going all the way towards 326, and the Dow have a gap at the 322. Remember, more than 80% of all gaps will get filled, and gaps are like magnets to price action. Bitcoin, this red trend line from support, now resistance. Can Bitcoin break up and above this red trend line, or are we going to this orange trend line? Sit and wait. Another doji, yesterday's doji, today. For now, inside candle. Let's see where are we going. If you are a pattern trader, you can recognize here left shoulder, head, and this might be the right shoulder. If this pattern will validate, we are going towards 23,300. But Fibonacci traders, we don't trust patterns, because patterns are not to be trusted. The only thing we can trust is price action, and we follow trend lines and Fibonacci levels. Ethereum, nothing much. 1800 needs to hold, otherwise same here. We have some kind of a head and shoulders pattern. This is the right shoulder, the left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Now 1800 needs to hold, otherwise 17, 16, and maybe back towards the 15. Above 1930, 2021 500 to the upside. SOXX, as we can see, inside downtrend channel. 412, 418 to the upside. Major resistance area. Let's see if the SOXX can break up and above. Then 433 and 446 to the upside. Oil, perfect example of why trend lines and Fibonacci levels are the true support resistance for price action, and more important, they are the roadmap for future price action. If you saw my previous videos in the past few weeks or so, you know these lines, you know these levels. Bouncing off this blue trend line held the lower lows. Bounce. Now, let's see if we can retest this yellow trend line once again. This yellow trend line goes all the way back to July of 2022. And since then, except this one here, failed to break up and above. This was a breakout, but it was a breakout with a gap. This is why price went back inside, fill this gap, and then boom, all the way to the blue trend line. Now bouncing back up above this yellow trend line together with the above the 76 area. We are going to retest the 79 and the 84. All this area between the 79 and the 84, just look left. Very tough area of resistance. Follow price. Use levels as your roadmap to the future. Natural gas basically moving sideways since end of March. Now we have some kind of a double bottom scenario. Still needs to validate. Long above 250. Apple. Ready on Apple. Let's see if this gap will get filled at the 167. This red trend line needs to get retested after breakout here. Gap to the upside. Now this gap needs to get filled. This red trend line needs to hold, and then we might get the next leg up towards 174 and 182. Shopify. Inside day, inside the candle. After 3 very bullish days. Now let's see continuation towards the 68 together with this blue trend line, or all depends on the CPI numbers and the reaction of the market to those numbers. 60 needs to hold, otherwise 55 and back to this gap and this blue trend line. Nvidia, broadening formation, trend lines holding the higher highs. We have this trend line to the downside, but 276 needs to hold. Then we have 264, and then we're going to retest this yellow trend line to the downside, breaking above the 294 and above this yellow trend line. We are going towards 315 and 347. Amazon grinding up, uptrend until proven otherwise. Red trend line holding the higher lows. Now let's see, breaking above the 107, 108, and we are going towards this red trend line. AMD, a doji. A doji is the most significant signal in candlestick analysis for an indecision in the market, and AMD since the 81, very bullish sentiment. Now some kind of a halt above the 94. Let's see continuation towards the 97. Good CPI numbers, good reaction, and AMD is going all the way towards this white trend line. And if we look left, this white trend line is holding the higher highs. Follow price and use Fibonacci levels and trend lines as your roadmap for future price action. No other indicators are truly needed, not even volume. As we can see, Fibonacci traders, we don't even watch volume because everything follows price. So let us be our own indicator to follow price by ourselves, to understand and with high probability know where price might be headed next. Meta, 4-5 consecutive dojis, indecision, strong indecision. On Meta, we have this gap that wants to pull price to fill it, and we have the bulls that wants to avoid filling this gap and breaking above the 244 towards this gap at the 315. Who will win? Bulls teams or Bears team? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? And of course, it all depends on CPI numbers. We can also take trend lines to help us to see where price might be headed next. As we can see, this trend line goes all the way here. Roadmap to the future. And as long as these two trend lines are holding, more importantly, this lower white trend line is holding, Meta is in an uptrend. Tesla, Doji, back below the void. Now let's see where Tesla is heading. To the downside, we are going to retest this and fill this gap, or are we going to fill this gap? In the meantime, since April 20, after the earnings, nothing much on Tesla between the 155 and the 170. Very tight price range. Not much of a movement. Tesla needs to move. Let's see where. All we have to do, follow price. You guessed it. I know I sound like a broken record, but this is it. In the end of the day, trading needs to be boring. If you're looking for excitement, trading is not for you. It's not about the excitement. It's about the process. Trading the process with the proper set of rules, proper strategy, and proper risk management. Excitement? Vegas. Google tried and failed to close up and above the 108. Now Google is still between the 103 to the downside, 108 to the upside. Let's see how CPI numbers will affect Google. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit the like, subscribe, share with friends, will be much appreciated. Don't forget to check the links in the description below for more educational resources. Until the next video, do good things.